What's up, guys? So today we are packing up a couple snakes to ship out, and I wanted to take you guys along because it's been a few years since we did a how-to video on how to ship reptiles. So cue the intro, dive on in. So like I said, today we are gonna pack up some snakes. I got my son Kix here who's gonna do the camera work, and we'll take you along. I'll do a step-by-step, and I'm doing this whole video because we recently joined Team Redline, Better Off Red. So let's show you how I ship my reptiles through Redline shipping. Okay, so the first thing you wanna do is you wanna build your box. And for all ball pythons, for every reptile I send pretty much, I use the 12 by 9 by 6. You want some air volume to your snakes. That helps with temperature fluctuations. The extra air inside helps to insulate it so there's not a drastic up and down in the temperature swings. So you start out by running the tape like that. I do the H pattern, so then I use another little piece right here on each side. So I got one across and one on each side like that. That's the bottom of the box. So the inside of your box is going to look like that. Now this is an important tip. This is something I do with every box. It doesn't matter if I'm shipping in the heat, the cold, whatever. Put the top styrofoam in, shut the box. I'm going to use my giant screwdriver and I poke one hole over here. Airflow is really important, but you don't want so much airflow you're losing temperature in the box. So I did all that so when the box is compressed to the shipping shape, the hole lines up with the styrofoam that you put in the box. So it's going to look like this for now. And this is something I wanted to talk about too. So I use the Redline Science eco-friendly phase packs. You can use the phase 22s or whatever too. Right now it's summertime, so I got these in the little mini fridge, so they're like a cooling mode. They help regulate the temperature and stabilize it during shipping. I put it in a plastic bag because especially if you're using a phase 22, those are harsh chemicals that will actually burn your skin if you get it on it, so you don't want one of those busting open and getting on your snake. These are eco-friendly, similar to coconut oil, I was told. So this isn't going to hurt nothing, but it still make a big mess. So I put it in a Ziploc baggie. And let me tell you this. So every leopard gecko I've ever ordered, those guys use a phase pack of some sort in their boxes. So I know a lot of people complain that these things are like $5 a pop and it's adding to the shipping cost. $5 isn't anything compared to the safety of the animal that you're sending. So I pretty much use these year round. There's times during the winter I only use a heat pack, and even when I use a heat pack I use the 72 hour because those have a stable temperature time, and in case the box gets delayed you want that thing to be heating for longer. So I don't use any of the 48-hour ones because they can get too hot and half the time they don't work anyways. So anyways, I highly recommend using a phase pack. Now what I do is I tape it to one side and I just go all the way around. My packing tape doesn't like to stick to styrofoam, so I make sure it wraps all the way around, sticks back to itself, secures the phase pack, and see how I put it off to one side? That's because of the way the styrofoam fits in like that. So, important note here. Where I poke the hole is where the phase pack is. So, as the air comes in and out, air pressure stabilizes, you know, expands and contracts. This thing is stabilizing the temperature. So this is like my temperature control for the whole box during shipment. Alright, so I've added my fill to the box too. I use color coordinated, crinkle, pre-cut like paper that I get from Uline. I'm a big believer in appearance, you know, is everything. So if somebody buys their first snake from me and they open up this box, it's like its own little experience. You know, it's like Christmas in July. Today, you know, it's July right now. So something I do is I put my red paper on the side with the heating element. That just tells me, that's my way of doing it. I'm going to put the snakes on the black side, because I put the animals on the opposite side as my temperature control, whether it's heating, cooling, whatever I'm doing at the appropriate time. I want the animals on the other side so they're not right up against a cold pack or a hot pack or whatever. So, and you want plenty in here. You can use other things too, like polyfill. I know some people use butcher paper. There's all different methods you can use for insulation and cushion. But this is like really, it's firm, yet it's soft. So the animal bouncing around in a truck or on an airplane, it has a lot of cushion. It's not going to be hitting the sides of the box or anything like that. And I use this same method when I ship out hognose or leopard geckos, but they'll be in a deli cup that's lined with paper towels, so they're not bouncing around in the deli cup. Alright, so this particular person is getting 2 snakes. So I got it marked male and female on here, so they know that end. And we'll go over my ID cards that tell them the genetics here in a second. So what I do is I put one of these size paper towels. For hatchlings I use one. I use this same method for different size, like bigger boxes for breeders and stuff too. It'd just be bigger bags and more filling. But I use the same configuration. One hole over by the heating element, the cooling element, whatever. So I got this customer's snakes marked over there. So I'll put the appropriate snakes in the appropriate bag. Okay, so I got the snakes in the bag, and I'm actually going to switch to the Redline black bags with the red stitching. It goes with my whole color scheme, so like I said, appearance means a lot. You don't have to go with that, but that's what I'm doing. So my next time I order bags, I'll be having black bags too. Alright, I got the snake tied up. And I tie it like this so the snake can't get out, but it's easy to open for the customer. They don't have to cut the bag. And then, like I said, the sex is labeled on here. And what I do is I build a little nest in here. It's very important that you want cushion on the bottom. Sometimes you even got to take it out a little bit. But you want to build a little nest in here for them. So it's basically going to look like that. Both the snakes are in the middle of all this crinkle cut paper. So when it's bouncing around on a truck and an airplane, or on the forklift coming out of the airplane or whatever, on pallets, it's not getting beat up. And then you put your top thing on, you are almost to a sealed unit at this point. And then I have a fancy envelope. And this tells the customer all the genetics. So these 2 animals were from the same clutch. All the information is the same on parents, date of birth and everything. I have both ID numbers, the male and the female snake identification, genetics, what they eat, everything here eats frozen thawed, the date they last eat. This is an important note too. So I feed on Mondays. So as I sell stuff throughout the week and over the weekend, snakes that are going out That week I do not feed because I do not want to risk anything regurgitating during shipment. And I had a couple stickers, whatever kind of swag I have at the time. Then I put that envelope right on top, right? Like I said, I want this to be a good experience, especially from somebody that has never bought from me before, or this could possibly be their very first snake ever. So I want this to be a memorable experience. Memorable experience. I know the tape's loud. I do the same pattern on top, one across the seam, and then I'm going to do two right here. That's the H pattern. Okay, an important note here too. So I do my H pattern like this. I do make sure the corners aren't covered because there are some little holes right here that allows a little bit more airflow. I want a little bit of airflow in here. I want the snakes not to suffocate. I don't want this to be airtight, but I do want to limit the airflow so the temperature is stable. So that's why I do one hole here, so that makes sure no matter how tight these corners are, because the styrofoam can be a little tight sometimes it's a little looser. But anyways, there's a little bit of airflow. And I do the same configuration year round. The only thing that changes is whether I'm heating, cooling, you know, all that. All right, here's another piece of branding. This is something I just do for my own sake. This is some branded packing tape. And there's plenty of ways to do this. This is the easiest way. Some people use a sponge. I just mist it down. And then I bring the box over to the edge. You want to make sure wherever you apply this, you're not covering any kind of Lasiac labels. So, there is no mistaking that that box is from Small Town Exotics now, right? So this is what I was talking about, Lasiac labels. My boxes that I buy actually have this, so I could just fill it out. So you want to check what you're sending, whether it's a reptile, invertebrate, or aquatics. I'm going to check reptiles. You put the common name, the scientific name, and the quantity. So in this case, I'm sending 2 ball pythons, and then you put down below that Python Regis. So there's no mistaking what you're sending. So that's how it should look like once it's filled out. The quantity, common name, and the scientific name. So then you have both of that. All right, you notice my tape doesn't cover any, like this has to be legible, and then I'm gonna have one side with nothing. So we got all the appropriate labels. And then I actually print my own labels. You can get a label maker. If you're gonna do a lot of shipping, you can get a label maker. I got mine on Amazon on sale for like $110. It's a thermal FedEx label printer. Munbin is the brand if you want to look that up if you're interested in those. It's never given me any trouble. And this saves a lot of time and hassle. I used to print them out, shrink them down, then you got to tape all the way over them. But that is what your box is going to look like. So like I said, I did all this to give Redline Shipping a shout out. We are now using Redline Shipping exclusively. They have given me the best rates of my life. And thank you to Redline Shipping. Thank you, Robin, for working with me. And I highly recommend using them. Tell them Small Town Exotics sent you. And that's how I ship reptiles. Until next time, guys, rock on.